How's it going everyone, Rosalind here. So this video is way overdue, so apologies for that, but today I'm going to be going over my guide for the Masakado boss fight. Masakado is one of 2 new super bosses added to SMT5 Vengeance, and is required if you wish to fuse him and complete the compendium. If you're wondering about the other super boss Satan, I've already done a video on that and will leave a link to it in the video description below. Now if all you care about is just beating Masakado in order to unlock his fusion, then you can always just put the game on safety and he'll fall over to a gust of wind. But if you're looking to fight him normally for the challenge, hopefully this video will help you out. For starters, in order to actually fight Masakado, you need to be on the Canon of Creation story path and complete a lengthy series of side quests that starts by talking with Yoshitsune in the Demon Haunt. And once complete, you'll be able to challenge Masakado in the Chiyoda area. It should also be noted that there is an item you can pick up in the northern section of Shinjuku while on Canon of Vengeance that will allow you to challenge an even harder version of Masakado on New Game Plus. Now the fight against Masakado is incredibly simple, and I'm not talking about difficulty, just mechanically it's a very simple encounter, as there are only a few things you actually really need to worry about. First, just like with the player-controlled version of Masakado, his boss fight version has the same Scarlet Blade mechanic. If you're unfamiliar with this innate skill, it provides Masakado increased crit rate and crit damage for each effect on him. Effect meaning buff, debuff, or status ailment. So should you say use Beelzebub to apply Debilitate, Masakado will instantly get 6 stacks of Scarlet Blade and then will easily mop the floor with you. Even just 1 debuff on Masakado is very dangerous, and therefore the best course of action is to just not use debuffs for this fight. A restriction that is quite painful as Masakado can hit very hard. Freykugel and Recalcitrant Execution give him access to powerful almighty damage options that he will use more frequently as his health drops. And contrary to what his skill set shows whenever you analyze him, he can actually use every element against you. The screen only shows 8 skills, but in addition to what is shown, he does have access to the remaining Draco Strikes as well. Now while still looking at his status screen, there is one other thing to take note of, and that is his access to Diorama. Diorama will heal Masakado for roughly 2000 HP per cast, and not only will he cast it almost every turn, he will frequently cast it multiple times per turn, significantly increasing the damage requirement for the fight. Oh, and you've probably already noticed that he is weak to all damage types. Don't let this fool you into thinking it will trivialize the encounter. You will need all the extra press turns this affords you. If anything, it just allows you to be more flexible with regards to team building for the fight. So with the information that we've gone over, we can identify 3 main problems that need to be solved for the Masakado encounter: Scarlet Blade, damage intake, and damage output. Scarlet Blade is easily solved by just not debuffing Masakado. This does suck given how much damage he can deal, but the alternative is him obliterating you. Damage intake and damage output are a bit trickier. As previously stated, Masakado can hit incredibly hard, and because of Scarlet Blade, the best method of reducing incoming damage is effectively sealed, so we're going to need to get a bit creative in order to survive. But at the same time, we can't focus entirely on defenses, as we also need to be able to outdamage his healing. In order to best explain how we're going to solve these 2 problems, let's take a look at the demon builds for this fight. Starting off with the main character, we will unsurprisingly be using the Dodge Tank build. Paraceline Blur is our damaging skill of choice. It deals incredible damage and goes a long way towards outdamaging Masakado's healing. Now to actually use Paraceline Blur, we need to have dodged an attack on the previous turn, and that is where Luminescent Mirage comes in. Luminescent Mirage puts a buff on the main character that provides a 100% chance to dodge the next attack. We then make use of Fierce Roar in order to ensure that the main character is attacked each turn, triggering the dodge from Luminescent Mirage and allowing us to use Paraceline Blur. The final part of the package is Intercalation, which will give us an extra press turn whenever we dodge an attack, which will be almost every turn thanks to Luminescent Mirage and Fierce Roar. So what we have is a high damaging build that helps reduce damage to the rest of the party by consolidating as much as possible onto the main character, all while generating extra press turns. To round out the build, Lunation Flux is taken for a bit of turn management and MP restoration, though if you do find that you are struggling to survive, you can swap this out for Kandabi Veil instead. High Restore is purely to help with MP management. And finally, Light Pleroma and High Light Pleroma are taken to boost the damage output of Paraceline Blur. Next up is what I'm sure will be a surprising pick in Ippon Datara. And what earns Ippon Datara a spot in the party for this encounter is his innate skill, 1 Foot Hop. What this skill does is reduce the damage an ally takes by 15% if they have a taunt buff on them, and since the main character's Fierce Roar is a taunt buff, Ippon Datara effectively reduces the damage the main character takes by 15%. This is huge because even though the main character is set up as a dodge tank and using the Demi-Fiend essence, he will still take a lot of damage. Now, even though Ippon Datara's innate skill is the reason he's in the party, we do still need him to be a respectable functioning party member outside of that. To that end, Akashic Arts is taken as his damaging skill of choice, providing solid, consistent damage. Other options you could go with include Figment Slash, Brave Blade, or Catastrophe. For Figment Slash, you would need to make room for both Beast Eye and Dragon's Eye, and also if you do this, just note that even with both of those passives, Figment Slash still isn't a 100% chance to hit. If you decide to go with Brave Blade, then you'd ideally also want to include Bloody Glee and Murderous Glee to capitalize on its innate crit rate. And if you go with Catastrophe, then just know that MP will be more of an issue due to its increased MP cost. Now, in addition to our damaging skill, Luster Candy is also taken to help with applying and maintaining 2 stacks of each Kaja buff. No Light removes Ippon Datara's only weakness. High Restore is taken to help with MP management. Enduring Soul is taken for extra insurance against recalcitrant execution, or for when Masakado decides to ignore the taunt on your main character and target another party member instead. Boom Boost EX is taken to extend the duration of the buffs provided by Luster Candy. Great Mana Spring is taken to further help with MP management. And finally, High Fizz Pleroma is taken to boost Ippon Datara's damage output. Filling in for the 2 premier healers in Konohana Sakuya and Demeter, we actually have Danu for this fight. And much like with Ippon Datara, Danu secures her position in the party for this fight due to her innate skill, Bountiful Earth. Bountiful Earth is an incredibly potent defensive skill that reduces the damage any party member takes by 15%, so long as they have 2 stacks of Rakukaja and that the damage they are taking isn't targeting a weakness. Since none of our party members will have exposed weaknesses, and will have 2 stacks of Rakukaja at all times thanks to Luster Candy, Bountiful Earth is effectively a 15% damage reduction for the entire party. This stacks with 1 foot hop for the main character, and helps out everyone else for once Masakado starts to use recalcitrant execution. As for Danu's skills, Energy Drain is taken to provide a little bit of damage and self-healing, as well as for the ever-crucial MP management. For healing, I replaced Danu's unique heal Matriarch's Love with Meteor Rahan. This is because the extra effect of Matriarch's Love is irrelevant for the Masakado fight, but the extra healing from Meteor Rahan definitely isn't. Hygeia is taken to allow Danu to heal everyone up to 30% above their maximum HP values. Luster Candy is taken to help with applying and maintaining 2 stacks of each Kaja buff. Drain Dark is to remove Danu's weakness to Dark. Enduring Soul is taken for extra insurance against recalcitrant execution, or for when Masakado decides to ignore the taunt on your main character. Boom Boost EX is taken to extend the duration of the buffs provided by Luster Candy. And finally, Great Life Spring is taken for more survivability. For the final party slot, we have Ariok. Since one of the 3 problems we need to solve for the Masakado fight is damage output, Ariok is a prime candidate to help with that due to his incredibly strong innate skill, Avenger. Avenger increases Ariok's damage by 5% for each dead demon in your stock. So if you say, fill your stock with 20 dead demons, then that's an easy 100% increased damage. Given that we are going to have a huge damage increase from Avenger, we want to capitalize on that as much as possible, even if it means being a little risky. As such, the offensive skill of choice for Ariok is Figment Slash. Figment Slash is one of the hardest hitting physical skills in the game, with a base power of 300 and a 100% chance to critically strike. The downside though is that it only has a 50% chance to actually hit. Because of this, we also take Beast Eye and Dragon Eye in order to try and offset Figment Slash's reduced hit chance. However, even with both of these passives, Figment Slash can still miss, so you'll want to plan accordingly when deciding to attack with Ariok. For the rest of his passives, Null Elec removes his only weakness, High Restore ensures he never has MP issues, Critical Zealot is another damage multiplier on top of Avenger to scale Ariok's damage even higher, Enduring Soul is taken for extra insurance against recalcitrant execution, or for when Masakado decides to ignore the taunt on your main character. And finally, High Fizz Pleroma is yet another damage multiplier on top of both Avenger and Critical Zealot. And that will do it for this guide on the Masakado boss fight in Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance. If you found this video helpful and informative, please be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Also, if you have any questions about SMT5 or any other game that I cover, feel free to hit me up over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RoslinGaming or my Discord server, both of which are linked in the video description below. Until next time, take care.